This is problem 7-42 from section 7.1.3 homework. It says solve the absolute value of x plus 5 equals the absolute value of x minus 5 by graphing. Express your solution algebraically. So first thing we're going to do, into our calculator, we're going to put in our y equals equation right here. We're going to find the absolute value button, which is under math. Put a number, ABS means absolute value. So I'm going to separate these into two equations like we've done before. So y equals, I'm going to graph the absolute value of x plus 5. And then separately, I'm going to graph y equals the other side, the absolute value of x minus 5. And I know the difference in what the graph should look like because we know what these values do, if it's either inside the absolute value or outside of it. So if it's inside, it's going to move it left and right. If it's on the outside, it moves it up and down. So we should see a difference, even though they are different as positive 5 and negative 5. But we really should see a difference. So here I'm going to hit x plus 5 is my first one I'm going to graph. And then the second one, I'm just going to do the absolute value again of x. And then outside my absolute value, I'm going to put minus 5. So I'm going to graph those. Alright, so that's the first one in the blue. Second one, ooh, it's looking interesting here. Okay, so what we're trying to see is when we have two equations and we're solving them, we're trying to find where they intersect, basically. And now we need to look at the original expression. There were no y's given to us in the problem, so we only want x in our answer. So let's look at where these graphs intersect, where are they overlapping. So if you saw before as it was showing up on the graph, we saw the blue line and the red line are actually overlapping each other until they hit the x-axis when, like right here, maybe you can see my arrow, I'm not sure, right there when x is about negative 5. So they are in common. If I did this on a number line, possibly, this might help first, and then write it algebraically, since it says write algebraically on my number line, and it's negative 5. Now we want it to equal negative 5, so here, I'm going to fill in my circle, and it's everything before that, everything in the negative direction is going to be filled in, continuing on. That's when the graphs were overlapping, everything in the negative direction. Alright, so writing this algebraically, I'm going to say x is going to be less than or equal to negative 5. And that's going to be my solution. Because there's only x in my original expression, there's only an x in my final answer. So that's problem 7-42. Separate into graphing two equations. Where do they overlap? And we will stop.